Hi, welcome to Enchantment of Eternity. So this is just a fuck around video. I just did it on a whim. I'm not going to talk about any show. I'm not going to talk about Game of Thrones, Star Trek, or movies or whatever. I just want to talk about my channel. And I mainly want to get your feedback of my avid regular viewers, probably the only one who watches videos like this, because. All right, I want to pull the curtain back a bit and give a bit of what they call inside baseball or whatever about my channel, because I make a little bit. You might have noticed there's some ads, and some of you who are actually faithful viewers has probably made a point to watch the ads or at least not use ad blocker in order to support my channel. If you do that, hey, thanks a lot. That's absolutely great. That's wonderful. But just to be like totally upfront and let you know, like, I don't make enough money to live on, not even close, dude. It just supplements my living, and honestly, it's the more money I make from the channel, the more videos I'm able to make, because so if I make money from the channel, I'm able to work my day job, even though it's an evening job. I'm able to work that less, so I can work on the videos instead. Which is good. So, but it's not enough to live on, but it's enough to help, so I can work a bit less, so I can work on videos less. And working on videos is what I'd prefer to do, rather than working my evening job or whatever. But the thing is, and I haven't really talked about this before, is that with my Star Trek videos, if you do make a point to not use ad blocker or to watch the ads or anything like that, you're actually not, for most of them, a vast majority of my Star Trek videos, you're not actually supporting me, you're supporting CBS. Because CBS has started to do, it went crazy. It claimed, like, I think maybe 75% of my Star Trek videos are copyrighted claimed, which means, like, they let me keep them on. Like, they don't take them down, but I can't make any money off of them. They make money off of it. So before, when I first started doing my Star Trek videos, CBS didn't care, but there was this shift later on, and it was in the news, they attacked a bunch of these fan-based Star Trek shows. Like, there were a lot of fan-based Star Trek shows where fans were making their own Star Trek material, and CBS shut them down. Like, there was just some, I think it's when they decided to do Discovery and decided to reinvigorate the franchise. They were well, we need to be the only ones making money off of it. And so then they started going after all the YouTube channels as well. Some of you may remember, those who watched my Star Trek videos for several years, that at one point I was like re-uploading like 12 or 20 Star Trek videos at once. And a lot of people were like, what? I thought you already posted this. Why are you re-uploading it? And it's because they actually got taken down because they had video clips in them. And so they outright not just steal the monetization, they actually outright banned it and took it down. So that video was gone, so I still had the original, so I had to take the original, edit out the video clips, and then re-upload it. And some of those even got the monetization taken away once. So the video clips, so then I learned to not use video clips. In fact, overall, my entire channel, I shied away from using video clips because I'm too worried about getting dinged. The couple of my Game of Thrones prediction videos, like I did the season 6 Game of Thrones prediction series, and I would have like a tiny little clip at the start of each video, and a couple of those got taken down. So then after that happened, like the Tyrion and Sansa, people might have noticed I had to re-upload those. So after that happened, I went through all my other prediction videos and took out the clip preemptively so that they wouldn't get taken down as well. So since then, I stopped using clips, and some of you might have noticed I shied away from using any like copyright material. Like, I have my own like music, which is whatchamacallit, Creative Commons, so it's something that I won't get dinged for. The background music I have over me talking, I actually had a friend make that for me. I asked a friend to make the intro, but he never got around to doing it, and don't really keep in touch with him anymore. So I'm just using Creative Commons for the intro. Like, some people complain about the intro, like, oh, I hate the intro music. Well, tough titties, because I'm trying not to use copyright material because I'm sick of getting dinged for it. But if you may have noticed, the one copyright material I still always use is pictures, because I personally, like, some people hold that against me, as saying, oh, why not show your face and talk? I'm doing, like, you know, but there's a lot of channels that do the pictures, like Red Team Review, Preston Jacobs, a few others. And so I actually prefer doing it that way with the pictures. And the thing with the pictures is the Game of Thrones, they leave me alone. Like, and that's where my channel gets most of its money from, is my Game of Thrones video, to be perfectly honest. Like, whenever I make enough money to where I can work a bit less on my day job and focus more on my videos, it's not because of my Star Trek videos. It's not because of the Walking Dead videos. It's not because of the Orphan Black videos. It's not because of Mr. Robot videos or movie videos. It's because of Game of Thrones. And Game of Thrones, for the most part, has been leaving me alone as long as I don't use video clips. And so that's great. In fact, I could probably still use the music. They don't really care, but I'm just erring on the side of caution by not using the music. I know some other channels still use Game of Thrones music, and they're fine. But I just want to be a bit cautious, because it could change their minds. Like Star Trek, they were all good with using this, and all of a sudden they just changed their minds. So who knows? The HBO could suddenly change their minds with Game of Thrones anyway. So anyway, the point is, I decided to come on and ramble about this is because I just got dinged for Vikings video. Not last week's episode, but the week before, episode 14, where they took away the monetization of it, so I'm not getting money from that. And I'm just a bit scared, because the latest Vikings video I just made has been getting a lot of views. I've been surprised. Maybe it's because something monumental happened. If you're not watching Up to Vikings, I won't tell you what that is to avoid spoilers, but it was a monumental episode, and so that's probably why I'm getting a lot of views. So that's helping my channel grow by getting the money, the revenue from that video. And now it seems like they might take it away just because I'm using pictures. So, and the Star Trek thing is just for the pictures. Like, I don't use the music. Like, when I stopped using the Star Trek music, I thought, okay, I haven't been dinged for a while, so maybe it was the music. Once I stop using it, it's fine. But then a couple months later, I started getting dinged for these videos where the only thing I use is the pictures. So now I'm starting to wonder if I should stop using pictures and just have me talking. And then there's nothing wrong with that. Like, Don Willie does it, Geek Satyrs do it, and they have great material. And every once in a while I'll do these live stuff where I'll do that as well. But I don't know, to me it's better having visual aids. Now, we took some channels like Because Geek and what's that, Charlie and Westeros and stuff like that will do a combination. They'll have them talking head, but then they'll flash the pictures every once in a while. And I suppose I could do something like that. That might be less likely to get dinged if you're using the pictures sparingly. But see, the thing is stuff like that, and especially stuff like what Because Geek and channels like that do that have really high production value, is I don't do that because it's too time consuming. Like, there's just one video I did which only got, like, it hasn't even gotten 1,000 views yet. It's got like 900 views. I did about the 5 shows Game of Thrones fans should be watching. I went all out. I gave my friends some money to come over and like help me film it, and spent like a couple days editing, getting perfect. And it was a decent enough video. Like, I wouldn't say it has really high production values, but probably more so than most of my other videos. And like I said, it got less than 1,000 views, so it feels like it's kind of, anyway. What I'm saying is my channel has always been more about quantity than quality. Like, there's stuff I'd rather talk about, and I'd rather get it out as quick as I possibly can. In fact, sometimes I don't even edit it out my audio mistakes. Like sometimes I slip on a word or have to repeat myself, and I just don't edit it out because I don't have time to. And a lot of time I'm in a hurry because, I talked to Colonel Doomsday. It's all about this, is that I have to balance having a personal life and doing these videos. And at the moment, the videos are being too much, but I just can't help myself because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. I know a lot of the Game of Thrones fans will be like, well, don't do these Star Trek videos, don't do these Viking videos, don't do these Mr. Robot, we don't care about that, just do Game of Thrones. But then the Star Trek fans will be like, well, don't do the Game of Thrones, just do Star. So I have different viewers who latch on to different things, and I like that. And if I stop doing one of those things, then they'll be disappointed. And even though the Game of Thrones fan base is probably the only significant large one that actually contributes to monetarily to supporting this channel, I still personally want to do these other videos as well. So to me, it's quantity. I have to spit it out as soon as possible, and having the pictures up makes it easy because then I can just read off a script and read into my microphone, not have to worry about how I look while I'm doing that. And that allows me to do longer, more analysis-based, detailed videos. Videos like this where I'm just doing it off the top of my head. They're well and good. I do them every once in a while. And the Star Wars one I did is getting a fair amount of views. But I can't get as analytical and detailed as I'd like to without a script. That's why writing scripts help me, is because I'm able to get into details and sort of think things through rather than just spinning it off the top of my head. And I like doing that. And so I need to have the pictures there to help me do it. So I don't know. That's why I did this video, is because I'm going to ask you, because I've been thinking back and forth, particularly with the Star Trek, maybe not really Game of Thrones because they haven't bothered me yet, but again, who knows about the future, but mainly with the Star Trek ones. But again, the Star Trek ones haven't really been, I decided not to worry about it and use the pictures even though I know I'm going to get dinged, because they're not my main revenue, because they don't get nearly as many views as the Game of Thrones videos. I at first decided not to worry about it, but when I get dinged for Vikings, which was giving me a fair amount of views, that it starts to worry me so I'm trying to move away from copyrighted material entirely so I don't have to worry about this bullshit. But pictures is still one holdout, and as I just explained, I like using pictures. Anyways, let's see what they're saying in the chat. So, yeah, you guys talking in the chat. Sorry, I've been neglecting you. I'll see what you're saying now. So, Mitch Corbin, Eckler, T-Gill, a couple of great people. So, T-Gill says, keep up. Good work, man. I agree with you that visual aids from the actual material itself really help. Yeah, I totally agree with that as well. Mitch Corbin says, found your channel for Game of Thrones, but enjoy all of your work. Well, thank you. There's a few people out there like that who really support the channel. I appreciate that. Tika also says, one of the rare times in life that quantity over quality is preferred. I argue the quality is pretty darn decent as well. Don't sell it short. Oh, thank you for that. And in fact, I got a few people who said that. It is true that you can always be your own worst critic. I notice every single mistake I make, but maybe there's not. Some people don't notice it as much as I would. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do is what I'm saying. I don't know if I should start with my Star Trek and Vikings videos, if I should just start recording talking heads like this. So I wanted to know what you guys preferred, not just you in the chat watching now, but those watching this after I made this video. You can comment below. Tell me what you think, because, yeah, I mean, it is annoying. But, the Star Trek, I could live without the Star Trek videos making that much revenue. Although there's a couple of my Star Trek videos that are getting a lot of views lately. So if they get dinged, then that's going to be a loss, a hit to my channel. So I don't know. If people like Doug Walker, Nostalgia critic and stuff like that would say I have the right to use. It's just fucking pictures. I have the right to use it under fair use. And he started this whole campaign about it, and I totally agreed with him. Like Doug Walker used more than just pictures. He uses clips, music, everything. So he gets really pissed off. And this happened to other major channels like what is it called? History Buffs channel I like. They got a video taken down because he used clips from a movie that he highly promoted. Nobody heard of this movie. And he was saying, this is a great movie everyone should watch. It's awesome. And he made a lot of people aware of this movie, and they took the video down because he used clips. I mean, I don't think the people who make decisions like this probably just do not think. They're just like paid robots who just do, oh, video clip, copyright, take it down. They're not actually thinking from a monetary business, like looking at the big picture. Hey, these guys are actually making us more money by promoting my material. But that brings up another thing I thought was funny, because with The Walking Dead, I got dinged a couple times for them, not a lot, just like once or twice or three times maybe, and every time I got dinged for them, it was when I trashed the episode. So with them, I think they are thinking, well, fuck, if he's gonna shit talk our episode, then he's not gonna make any money from that video, which is fair. Which is why I haven't complained about that. And I was like, yeah, if you wanna take that down, monetization down for that, that's fine. But on the other hand, it's like, it's dumb. We're saying, oh, this is awesome. I am still promoting Star Trek by making all these episode reviews, is getting people more excited for it. That makes them, a lot of people I know, like Cardinal Doomsday and other people, will watch an episode because I reviewed it, and it's promoting it, and it's making Star Trek known, and they're punishing me for that, I feel. But again, I'm not like as angry enough to do it, to go out there and complain or go on a campaign or anything. I never challenged any of it because technically it is copyrighted material. So really, this the fair use is another good argument, but anyway. Oh, I see there's only 4 people watching. Sick of hearing me ramble about this. But that's okay. I pretty much, so is Agora, great movie. Yes, that's what I was referring to, that History Buffs reviewed. And Mitch Corbin says, seems like YouTube gets a case of red ass every so often. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. So I'm just wondering if I should stop using pictures in my Star Trek and other shows review, like Vikings, Walking Dead got dinged a couple times, and when I do movies. Oh, here's the worst thing that really pissed me off is my Interstellar review, like if you don't live in the US or Canada, you can't watch it. It got banned from every country in the world except for US and its territories and Canada, because I use pictures. Now, when this first happened, I took it down and took out all of the pictures and just put one poster of Interstellar. So it's just me talking for 35 minutes over one poster of Interstellar. And then that got dinged as well, which is bullshit, because I've seen tons of other videos on YouTube that use clips, use movie clips, use posters, use all sorts of things. So in that case, I can't help but feel I'm being picked on because I'm a little guy. Oh, let's pick on him and take away his money because there's nothing he can do about it, because that is total bullshit. You can find posters everywhere. You can go on the street and see a fucking poster. I've been planning on taking that down and then putting my own Enchantment of Eternity symbol up, or maybe even just a blank screen and just have the audio. But I think I used some of their music, but they didn't cite the music. They cited the poster, which is bullshit. Anyway, I'm trying to move away from that. The Interstellar review is like a couple years old now, so I don't think I'll bother. But just in the future, that's when I review movies, which I'm not sure how this to do or react. I just try to avoid, like I did. I never really get bothered by this top 10 movie stuff I do, because I just use one single image for each movie, and that's usually fine. So I don't know. See, I don't really want to do the talking head stuff though, because it's like Yeah, like I said, I like going into more detail, and it's hard. It's more time consuming as well because I have to worry about how I look and not just because when I make my videos, I read from a script. So I don't, if you were actually seeing me, it wouldn't be that interesting, and it would just be looking down like blah, blah, blah. It's not good to watch, which is why it's better to have pictures over. And you have to, when you're doing stuff like Charlie and Westeros or Because Geek, you have to perform, and that's just more time consuming, and I need my videos to take less time, not more time. In fact, I'm actually thinking of trying to limit myself to not doing these 20-minute videos, or especially the 40 minutes. Like Westworld, I did a 40-minute video, in the Game of Thrones season things, I ended up doing an hour long each. Those were so, I had no time. I was so wiped out and exhausted after doing those Game of Thrones season reviews. Like I did season 1, 2, and 3, and then I had, someone said do season 4 again. I'm like, no way. Sorry, you're just gonna have to watch the ones I made for season 4 when it just came out, because that was so exhausting doing that. In fact, I didn't even want to do season 3, but I felt like obligated to, because it would be shitty of me to just do 1 and 2 and not complete the set. But I'm glad that they're over with. So I'm gonna try to shy away from those hour-long videos, or 40-minute, or even half-hour. And maybe even when I do these episode reviews, just try to keep it to like 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes it's hard for me to do that because you have to be really concise. It's harder to make things shorter because you have to be concise with your language, which I like to ramble a lot. And there's a lot of stuff that you want to say that you can't because you don't have time to if you're trying to keep the time down. But the shorter videos get more view play anyway, because a lot of people don't want to sit through an hour just to get your review on the show, which is fair. I probably wouldn't either. So yeah, that's what I'm going to, in order for the time thing, I'm going to try to keep it down. Maybe that way I'll have time to not use pictures, or maybe do the Charlie and Westeros Because Geek thing where you're using both pictures and talking. I don't know. I'll see how it goes, I guess. But your feedback would be welcome. I might just continue using pictures and be like, well, fuck the copyright. If they want to take money away from me, fine, as long as my big money makers, which is prediction videos, as long yeah, like when they took down my prediction videos, that's when I was freaking the fuck out. I was like, so that specifically, and as I said, the Game of Thrones people so far been okay with pictures, but I try not to use anything else, no clips anymore. Like I still do the end of the year, I do like my 10 favorite moments of Game of Thrones, but I do that knowing it's going to get dinged, and I don't care. So I do those because it's a labor of love. I know it's going to make me no money, but that's fine as long as they don't take it down. Cool. So just a few things in the chat, and then I'll probably be out of here. Mitch, you're talking about Star Trek Beyond, and you say, are you talking about Star Trek Beyond? And Beyond, they really got it right. Oh, yeah, I think so. And you say you'd recommend it. I'd recommend it too, surprisingly. I did think Beyond was great. Shane says, Game of Thrones detailed analysis videos are always spot on. Well, thank you so much. That is really great to hear. I know that they would give me a fair amount of views, but not like as much as like the theory. I mean, it's kind of annoying how everyone loves theory videos. So it makes me feel more obligated to do more theory videos, because that's what will get me more views. It's not just about getting more views and being more popular, but it's also about, not being selfish and sort of giving people the material they want to hear, because I could ramble about shit that nobody cares about, and it seems kind of pointless, doesn't it? But it's always good to hear that when you like my analysis videos and stuff. So yeah, that's not an issue. I'll continue doing that, and I'll probably continue using pictures in Star Trek. I don't know. I'll see how it goes. See if I can shorten the time on these videos and just not. I mean, some people might not like that, especially with the Star Trek videos, because a lot of people like my detailed analysis. But if I have to shorten it, they'll keep it short. But at the moment, I'm having an issue with balancing too many videos with my personal life, especially right now. I have so much I want to do, but it's not the time to do it, and it's just getting overwhelming. Anyway, Oh, I guess I caught Colonel Doomsday at a bad time. I didn't see him in the chat. I guess he'll comment later. Oh, Marilyn Blenty, hello. How are you doing? Good to see you check in. I'm just rambling a bit. I'm just about to finish now anyway. Because I don't really have any, I'm just repeating myself at this point. Just a little checkup on the channel. So I guess I will say what's coming up on my channel next year. I'll make like a proper video with production whenever I have time to do it. But just to give you a heads up, of course, I'm continuing my Game of Thrones prediction videos for season 7, doing one every week. I'm making sure to do one every week. There'll be 10 in total, so I did 3 so far, so there's 7 more to go. I might take a wee little break from Game of Thrones after I finish doing that and just have a Game of Thrones video here and there, not necessarily every week, which is fine. Most channels do that. And Star Trek fans know that I'm taking a break from my Star Trek episode request reviews because that was becoming way too overwhelming. I was getting way too many episode request reviews, and it takes a long time to make a Star Trek episode review video. A long time, at least a day, which is a lot. And to have this huge list pending, like I feel like I needed to get through. Like sometimes I do these Star Trek weeks where I do like 5 Star Trek episodes in a week. People like Colonel Doomsday would be like, "Mark, you're overwhelming yourself. Why are you doing so many?" But I had to get through this list of episode reviews. That's so huge. I need to get through this list because it's so daunting to have this list of all these reviews pending. So I'm taking a break from that for several months, maybe 5 months, because that's an added pressure I don't need at the moment. And I appreciate that people like to request and they want me to hear my opinion on their favorite episode or a particular episode. That's great. That's very flattering. I love it. So it's that's why I wanted to do it. But I do need, for my own sort of sanity, to take a little break from that. But I do plan on still doing some Star Trek videos because I like talking about Star Trek and I have stuff I want to say about it. So I'll be more sort of countdown based videos coming, at least for the first months of 2016. I have 1 week where I plan on doing 5 episode reviews in a week. I don't know, which is my own fault because nobody requested them. But there's a theme I want to do. I want to do the review Star Trek episodes that I like and everyone else hates. I just thought that'd be interesting because I always get these comments saying, "Oh, this episode sucked. Why do you like it?" Or I see something online and says, "Oh, this is one of the worst episodes ever." And I think it's not that bad, actually. So I want to take a week to get into details about that. What's going on in the chat here? So Mitch says how the show should send you stuff to give away on your channel. True. Very true. Let's see. And yeah, man, I should get free shit. Yeah. It would be nice, but unfortunately not the world we're living in. Sending stuff to and from New Zealand could be expensive. My niece lives there and sent a passage only once. Oh, your niece lives in New Zealand. Oh, that's interesting to hear. Yeah, yeah, it is expensive. My family's still back in the States, and yeah, it is really expensive sending them things. Let's see. Okay, so what was I talking about? I lost my train of thought. Oh, wait. Guys, it says your review videos on Walking Dead was better than this show. Well, thank you. That's good to hear. Unfortunately, I won't be doing the reviews for the rest of the season. I'm taking a break, maybe permanently, from Walking Dead. I'll still review it at the end of the season. But, yeah, it's just it's good that you like my reviews on the show, and I know some people did, but the majority of Walking Dead fans, like those videos got a lot of dislikes because I hated the show. And in fact, a couple of like loyal viewers who like my channel love The Walking Dead, and they didn't like my take on it, which is fair enough because I'm basically just shitting on the show now. At first I wasn't. Like season 5 is when I started doing reviews for it, and that's because I liked season 5. I loved it. It was great. But then now I'm at the point where I'm ready to quit the show. So I don't think it's fair for me to keep reviewing it because I'm just going to shit all over it. And I know some people like Gaza in the chat like to hear that, which is cool. But it's still, I don't think it's worth doing it every week for. And I'm not even going to watch it every week, to be honest. I'm not saying I'm quitting the show entirely, but I'm going to stop watching it week to week. I just had enough. I had enough of it. It's so boring. It's so repetitive. It's just repeating the same plot points for 6 years now. And they want to keep doing it for 13 years. I don't understand this. I guess it has a fan base. That's why they're doing it. But why it has a fan base is what escapes me. But so I'm just quitting the show, watching it weekly. I will watch it once the season finishes and binge it like I did with Westworld, and then do a review for the whole season. And I'll try not to make that review too long. So you will get my ranting and raving Walking Dead fix at the end of the year, but sadly I can't do it weekly anymore. It's just a waste of my time. Let's see. Cardinal, oh, he's finally showing up. Mentioning you earlier. Everything okay? Yeah, I'll go back and watch the start of my video. I'm not going to repeat myself. That's why I sort of started this about copyright dings, which has sort of gotten me down. But that's okay. So Gaza asks, or Gazo, sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. Gazo22, do you watch Sherlock, or will you do reviews on the new season? Oh, there's a new season? I don't know. I watched the first 2 seasons of Sherlock. I can't even remember if I watched season 3 or not. That's how devoted of a fan I am. Maybe. Is season 3 the new one, or is that season 4? I don't even know. I don't keep up with Sherlock. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it's not the bee's knees. It's not the best thing ever. So I actually watched it before I started my channel, so that's why I never did a review of it. And to be honest, I don't think I ever will. I'm not really pressed to do it. I like it. It's a good show. It's decent, but it's not the bee's knees for me, so I don't know if I'll devote time to it. That's my answer for that. Okay, more book to show comparisons for analysis videos. Good to get someone's take who loves both and isn't a snob for one over the other. Well, thank you. That is good to hear, but although I probably won't be doing any more of those because I've done one for each season. I have to wait for Winds of Winter to come out before I can do one for season 6, unfortunately. Okay, and this is not good. No one's fine. I'm a bit tired, man. Fair enough. All right, cool. So yeah, I actually ended up babbling on for more than I thought. But what else was I gonna? I know I was talking about something before I went on this sidetrack of Walking Dead. Oh, what's coming up on my channel? Okay, so I've talked about this before, and actually, thankfully, it's not as many shows as I thought, because I thought in February and January I would get bombarded with a lot of shows I wanted to review, but thankfully a lot of them are getting pushed back. Like Sense8 I thought would be in December, but that's getting pushed back to May. The Leftovers I thought would be in January, but that's getting pushed back to April. Star Trek Discovery I thought would be in January, but that's getting pushed back to May. So actually, I'm going to be pretty steady up until the end of the year, really. But I'm still going to have quite a few in February that are starting. So Black Sails, The Expanse, The 100, Better Call Saul. And I think it's just those 4. I thought it would be Vikings because I thought they were going to delay the second half till February, but actually found out they're going to go straight through and not have a break, which is great. I'm so thankful for that because there's no other show in January going. So Vikings will finish in January, so I can take January to review Vikings without having to worry about it. So it'll just be those 4 shows. And so I won't be too overwhelmed. I won't be as overwhelmed as I thought I would be. And then, of course, in April, you got The Leftovers. And May, you got Orphan Black and Star Trek Discovery. And then in June, July, Game of Thrones and Mr. Robot. So I'll be fairly busy, but I'll still be able to do all the other videos like Game of Thrones prediction videos, Star Trek videos, episode reviews, and other stuff at the same time. So I won't be overwhelmed. February is still somewhat overwhelming. So, but I made a policy where the shows I don't feel obligated to review shows every week. There's only 5 shows, and I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. There's only 5 shows next year that I will review every week to week, regardless. And those 5 shows are Game of Thrones, Mr. Robot, The Leftovers, Better Call Saul, and Star Trek Discovery. Did I mention Star Trek Discovery? Yeah, Star Trek Discovery. And so Mr. Robot and Game of Thrones, I think, will be on at the same time. Star Trek Discovery will probably be finishing when those other shows start, so that might be an issue. And Leftovers and Star Trek Discovery will probably be on at the same time. But yeah, other than that, just those 5 shows. And I know some people like Vikings fans and Walking Dead fans and like fans of Humans would rather see me review it every single week. But I need to, like I said, I can't be overwhelmed with doing too many videos. I need to take some personal time. Sometimes if I have something I really want to say about it but don't want to spend the time to make a video, I'll just do a live chat like this. Like I did this about The Walking Dead a couple times. And so if I have something I really want to say but not the time, I'll do that because these are quick and easy to get out of the way. But even with those episode reviews, I'm going to take my time, and I mean, not take my time, try to condense them so they're not too long, so they're not taking up too much time. So hopefully I won't be too overwhelmed in the coming year. So yeah, that's what you can expect in my channel. And every once in a while I'll do a movie review or whatever, top 10 list, but just as it was for last year, which I think I've done like 4 or 5 altogether all year. So that's probably around the same I'll do this year. Some people have been asking for me to bring back my breaking conventions. They thought maybe I stopped doing that series because I was worried about the negative feedback. But I don't care about negative feedback, whatever. But I just haven't been doing it because I haven't had time. And maybe I'll have time to squeeze 1 or 2 in next year. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so now let's see what's in the chat. Colonel Doomsday said, hadn't heard about Star Trek Discovery. Thanks. Oh, you hadn't? Oh, no, that was announced several months ago, actually. And Brian Fuller, who was the showrunner, who was big, everyone was so excited. Oh, he did Hannibal. He's going to be great. He dropped out of it. And I think it's because of scheduling issues. I think the reason why it got pushed back to me was because of his scheduling issues. And then he realized that his scheduling issues, I think he's doing another show or something. So he's not even involved in the show anymore. I think he's an executive producer, which means he doesn't really do anything. He's just there to give feedback every once in a while. And the 2 people that he's worked with on a lot of other shows, which I can't name off the top of my head, they're taking over Star Trek Discovery, they're not as well known. But, I mean, they're his cronies, so I have just as much faith in them as I do in him, and I think he'll be fine. Some people are worried that Discovery is going to – whenever a production gets delayed, people always assume it's going to get suck. And in fact, a lot of people will hold that against it, like Suicide Squad, Star Wars, where Rogue One, I've heard some critics say, oh, you could tell that there were reshoots. You can tell that they delayed it. You can tell there were production problems. No, you can't. You're just letting that knowledge affect your viewing. You're putting that in the back of your head. Oh, there's production problems. And so when you watch the movie, you expect to see production problems. You look for it in the film. Oh, this is where they re-edited. This is where they reshot it. And that's why you see it. If you just judge the movie on its own, then you wouldn't be such a dick. Anyway, that's how you should do it. You should judge it on its own. So I'm sure the same thing will happen with Star Trek Discovery, where people will be like, oh, I know there's production. You can tell there's reshoots. You can tell where the production, yeah. But that'll be bullshit. I'm still hopeful that it's going to be good. Let's see. That doesn't make you up. What's going on? Okay, so surely 5 reviews a week is enough. And actually, I'm keeping it down to 4. Before I said I was going to do 3, you might remember that. I just can't do it. If I do 3, then these videos stack up on my list and pending, and it's become overwhelming. So it's a balance between not doing too many in 1 week, but also not having all these videos stack up and be daunting. I don't want that to happen either. So 4 is a good thing, and I'm just going to try to make them a bit shorter. Like the Vikings ones I did recently, which is getting a lot of views. I did that very quickly. I did that in a couple hours because I was able to keep it short and concise and not babble on, not make like a 50-minute long video. So that's the thing I need to sort of hold myself back from doing, and I think I'll be fine as long as I keep it to like 10, 15, maybe 20 at the very most. Like some of these prediction videos I've been doing in 20, and that's fine because I needed to say that. If I had it shorter, I would have missed out on some things. But not that be the norm. That's just, the long end is 20. I'll try to keep it to like 10, 15 most of the time. Anyway, speaking of babbling on, I was only meant to come on here for a couple minutes. Anyway, so just a few things in the chat before I go. Marilyn says, Mark, take your time. Plus, I love live chats and maybe watch a random GOT. Yeah, watching a random GOT episode again might be cool. Maybe this time without the drinking. You don't need the drinking. I don't need to promote. I'm not an alcoholic or anything. I don't need to promote drinking alcohol. Maybe we could just do a watch along without alcohol. That might be fun. Colonel Doomsday said, I heard about Brian Fuller dropping out. Yeah, cronies, good perspective. That Marilyn Bentley said, hey, Mark, I liked your Jamie video. Just put that out there. Well, thank you. Glad you liked the Jamie video. That's good to hear. Because that one's probably not getting as many views, but that's okay. Jamie's not as popular as Jon Snow. People see Jon Snow and they click on him more. That's fine. Okay. Mitch Corbin said, did anyone see the Blade Runner 2049 teaser? Yeah, some other people in the chat probably answered you, but I'm going to answer. You might know my answer, and you might hate my answer, is I don't like Blade Runner. I'm sorry. I watched that movie. Everyone raved about it. So I watched it 3 times saying, okay, I must be missing something because everyone's saying this movie's great. And every single time I still come out of it feeling like I'm still missing something because I really don't see why it's good. It doesn't suck. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I don't know. It's not for me, I guess. It's my taste. I'm not going to say the movie sucks. I'm just going to say it's not my style. In fact, I'm not a fan of Ridley Scott. I was planning on doing several videos about that. I can't think of a single movie of his that I love. There's a couple I thought were okay, like Alien. That was okay, but a lot of his movies I think suck. Like the Gladiator. Don't get me started on Gladiator and Prometheus. What is that bullshit? Anyway, get off on a rant. I'm not a huge Ridley Scott fan, and I'll leave it at that. And Colonel says you can babble anytime, Mark. Well, thanks. That's good to hear. What else was he saying? Like the idea of more live chats. Well, I do have a couple planned. Apkin mentioned one in his live chat yesterday with him and Phil the Issues guy. We're about Star Trek. Because it's funny, when I did my drunk video with Phil, we kept going on all these rants. I'm sure you guys remember that, going off on these rants about Star Trek when the video is supposed to be about Game of Thrones. So it'd be great to have Phil on to actually talk about Star Trek, where we can rant about Star Trek as much as we like. Yeah. Yeah, Marilyn says we don't need the drinking, plus Phil had mad issues last time. Yeah, yeah, that was fun. Alex says there are not many Viking review channels, sadly. That's why you rank pretty high for that, I noticed. Yeah, actually, I noticed that too. I did realize because I did a YouTube search for episode 15 reviews, and mine was the first one to come up, and like Phil's was like the only other review I saw for that episode. I didn't see any. I think there's a few others who just hadn't gotten them out yet. Like there's this one guy, this dude, black dude with dreadlocks. I can't remember his name. Sorry. I just can't remember the name of the channel because I'm not a huge fan of it. But he does Vikings reviews, and there's this other dude that does Viking reviews, but yeah, not very many, just like 3 or 4. And that I do realize, and the fact I was able to get it out before them actually helps with the views as well. But yeah, I do realize that's probably why. And that's actually why it's good to do Vikings, because not many other people do it. Like if I do something like Walking Dead, everybody does Walking Dead. So it's kind of like a waste of time. So it's actually, and that's why I do shows like Orphan Black, and Black Matter, or no, is it Dark Matter? Dark Matter. Which not many other channels do either, which Geeksiders do. So it's always great to compare notes with them. You know how much I love their videos. Anyway, what else have we got? Marilyn says it was awesome next day. Not so much. My husband came up midday and was, she's talking to Cardinal. Talking about the drinking day experience. Well, that's good. Anyway, Shane asked about The Martian. Yeah, The Martian was one of Ridley Scott's films, which was okay. When I mentioned there were several of his films I thought were okay, that was one of them. It did make an honorable mention to my top 10 movies of the year, so I thought it was a really good okay. It's probably one of my more favorite films that he's done, but it's still, there's no film that he done which I think blew me away, which I think would qualify him as a awesome director. I'm sure he's a great director, like technically, of course, like with the shots and the way he lays things out, but it's just not my style. I just don't like it. It's the same thing with Martin Scorsese. Like, I haven't talked on this channel much, but my brother and people who knew me personally will attest to how much I would rant about Martin Scorsese films and how I just do not like them. It's worse than Ridley Scott, actually, because not only is there not a Martin Scorsese film that I love, I usually hate a vast majority of his movies. There's a few movies that I think are good, like Goodfellas. Everyone, what about Goodfellas? Goodfellas was decent, but I didn't love it. And I'm sorry, guys, but I hated Taxi Driver. That was boring. I hated Raging Bull. I know, but sorry, I gotta be honest. But the movies I hate even more are Gangs of New York. I actively hated in that movie. What was that bullshit? That was such a bad movie. And the thing is, most of his movies, like The Departed, and The Departed I've talked about before. It was a great movie up until the end, which is like a 14-year-old world ending. That was the worst ending I've ever seen in any movie, other than No Country for Old Men, but don't get me started on that. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going off on a rant. I'm not a Martin Scorsese fan. I haven't talked about this on my channel much, but that's another. See, directors like him and Ridley Scott and Stanley Kubrick, who I don't hate, don't calm down. I don't hate Stanley Kubrick. I'm just not a huge fan of his. And so directors like that, I recognize that they're good technically, and they make films which a lot of people love, and there's reasons why people love them. It's just not for me. It's not my style. It's not what I look for when I personally watch films. I'm more like directors like Christopher Nolan. I know everyone says that's trendy, but I actually wish he didn't do the Batman films. I didn't like the Batman films. That's another thing that's very out there. And a few other directors I can't think of off the top of my head, but more, yeah. So they're not my style. That's that. Okay, let's see what's in the chat here. Marilyn says Taxi Driver sucks. Well, thank you. I'm glad you agree. Cardinal doesn't agree. He says no. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say it sucked. It was just boring. I didn't see what was so great about it. It wasn't a horrible movie. It's just like I don't see it as great. Let's see. Mitch says, do you know they use edited scenes from The Shining and Blade Runner? I did not know that. See, The Shining, I think I talked about The Shining before. That's another movie. Like, I recently watched it like a year or two ago to see, because everyone was saying it's the best horror movie ever. And I personally believe that movie would have been better if Jack Nicholson wasn't in it. Everyone loves Jack Nicholson, but Jack Nicholson's great in the movie, but it defeats the whole purpose, because as soon as you see the very first scene of the movie, you're like, yep, that guy's going crazy. It's so obvious. Technically, I told you, man, don't fucking disturb me while I'm writing, man. I mean, it was the most predictable thing in the world that that guy would go mad. But anyway, anyway, yeah, Marilyn Bentley says it's not for me either. Well, that's good to hear. And Mitch says I'm pulling for the DC universe. Now, I was never been a huge fan of the DC comic books growing up, to be perfectly honest. I've always been a Marvel guy. But I don't think that's why I don't like the movies. I think I don't like the movies. Well, first of all, I hate how they did Batman v Superman, just because, like, and here's the thing, a lot of people were disappointed in Batman v Superman because they thought it would be great. They thought, oh, Batman versus Superman is going to be awesome. They wouldn't saw it. They didn't like it. I knew from the very first, like 2 years ago, when they very first announced they were doing the movie, I knew it would suck. And it sucked for the exact reason that I thought it would suck. And it's because they were trying to do too much in one movie. They were trying to cram too much. And as soon as they said, we're going to introduce a new Batman and a Superman versus Batman movie, I'm like, that's stupid. You need to start off with, and me and my friend, I have a friend who we get into vigorous arguments about this because he totally disagrees with me. But I think you need, if you're going to introduce a new Ben Affleck, and that's the other thing, when they first announced it, people like, oh my God, Ben Affleck as Batman, that's horrible. I'm like, I don't give a fuck who they cast. Ben Affleck was fine. I don't care about casting him as Batman. The fact that you're going to introduce a new Batman into a Superman movie is stupid. Batman is such an important character. If you're going to introduce a new version of him, you need to do it in his own movie. A lot of people are like, oh, we don't need to see another origin story. Fine. Don't make it an origin story then. Have it start when he's already Batman, but you need to introduce him first. And when I saw Batman v Superman, they exactly had that problem. In fact, the problem was even worse because they tried to introduce Wonder Woman, they tried to introduce Aquaman, all this other bullshit, and they tried to do way too many. Like, Batman v Superman had like maybe 4 good movies within that movie that would have been good if they were each done separately. Like, they had a Superman where Superman dies. Sorry, spoilers. Who cares? That movie sucks. And or follow up to the Man of Steel, an introduction to Batman, a Batman v Superman. 4 different movies, maybe even 5 if you count like Lex Luthor and his mother, or 6 if you count Wonder Woman. Okay, 6 different movies that would have been good if they made them as separate movies. But the problem with the DC universe is that they're trying to play catch up with Marvel too fast, and that is why they are failing. So as soon as, like, they're doing a Justice League movie, it's too soon to do a fucking Justice League movie. You need to introduce the characters like Marvel did. That's why they're failing. They're like, oh, we got to catch up to Marvel. We got to catch up to Marvel. And that is why the DC universe sucks. Also, I'm not a huge Zack Snyder fan. I haven't seen a single one of his movies that I liked. Like, there's a couple I thought were okay. So they shouldn't rely on Zack Snyder either. I thought they were going to rely on Christopher Nolan, but I think Christopher Nolan was pretty smart to get away. In fact, I don't want to see Nolan do any more comic book movies. I want him to do different stuff, like he's doing this war movie, and I'm so excited for that. Anyway, Colonel says we can vent through Mark. It's great. Yes, another time where I'm just venting. Mitch says, dude, I'm too much of a geek. I love Batman v Superman. You know what? If you like Batman v Superman, that's fine. I'm just saying my personal sort of feelings. Like, can't remember, one of Don Willie's friends who did this video before I saw it and was saying how much he loved the movie and how the critics were shit for talking shit about it. And I respected his opinion. I disagree with it, but I'm not going to call him you or anyone else names for liking Batman v Superman. If you like it, good on you. Which is why I didn't really get the reaction I got when I did my video about X-Men Apocalypse, because that's a movie that I'm on the reverse side. It's similar to Batman v Superman, where the majority of people and the majority of critics hate it. Like, I'm watching Screen Junkies, I watch that channel a lot, and they've been bashing X-Men Apocalypse recently because they're talking about the movie's failures of the year, and they're saying, oh, it's so bad. I loved it. And the thing is, if you don't like it, that's fine. But the thing I didn't understand is when I did my X-Men, well, I not understand. I could have expected this because some people are just bleh. But when I did my X-Men Apocalypse review where I was saying it's awesome, I got so many people who are angry at me and saying, you're wrong. I'm angry at you for liking the film, which is bullshit because I'm never going to be angry at someone for liking a film. If you like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, well, maybe I'll never go see a movie with you because we obviously have very different tastes, but I'm not going to give you shit. I'm not going to be angry at you for liking it. I'm not going to give you shit and say that you're wrong, that you're full of shit just because you like it. If you like a movie, you like a movie. That is perfectly fine. Like those people who don't like X-Men Apocalypse, they don't like it. That's fine. Like I have my reason, I give my thoughts about how I think they're being a bit unfair to it. Because to me, it seems like when they judge a movie like X-Men Apocalypse and Civil War, which I love to compare, because the contrast between those movies, the way they were reviewed is so great. Like that's a movie. The most underrated movie of the year is X-Men Apocalypse, and the most overrated was Captain America Civil War. And to me, it seems, this is just my perspective. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have a different perspective. That's all good. But my perspective is that they seem to be hyper-focusing on the Apocalypse's fault and making them into these bigger deal than they actually are. Whereas with Captain America, they're completely ignoring the film's fault and still saying it's this masterpiece and just ignoring all the glaring faults that are in the film. That's just, it seems like there's a bias going on that's not Marvel, DC, or Fox, or Disney, or any kind of that kind of bias, but the kind of bias that's generated by buzz, particularly with all these critics who are career critics or people who do this, who see tons of movies, is that they have to sit through all the trailers, they have to listen to all the Hollywood buzz, the production leaks, all this film's having problems, having reshoots, like I was saying earlier, and they let all of that bias them. They let all this external things, ooh, that makeup test looked horrible. They let all this external stuff bias them, and so they're able, when they see a film where they have all this stuff going, they're more critical about it to another film that like Civil War, which had good buzz around it. So they let the buzz sort of bias them to their experience of the film. That's just my opinion. Again, maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe they have general reasons. It's just a matter of taste. But based off of what I've been seeing, that seems to be the case to me, because there seems to be a pattern. Movies with good buzz, the critics love. Movies with bad buzz, they hyper focus on the faults more than they would on a movie with good buzz. I don't know. That's just what I'm saying. Okay. So Colonel says it's more than a year ago now. I'll send you. Oh wait, talking about something else. Sorry, joining in the middle of your conversation. Let's see. What else is saying? Okay. Marilyn says preach on, Mark. Well, thank you. Going on about that. George says, having worked in filming, having had executive walk and change everything because of their opinions, you really don't know what can happen on not a day-to-day basis. Well, yeah, I have some sort of minor experience working on films as well, and I totally see it. Like even on the sort of minor microcosm. I have an IMDb page, by the way. Anyway, even the microcosm that I've worked on films, I could see a sort of more local example of the producers, the money people stepping on the creative people, and I could definitely see how that would be even expanded and be even worse on a big budget, especially blockbuster comic book movie type thing. So totally agree with you. In fact, there's many movies like Fantastic Four that came out a few years ago, which I directly blame the studio, not the director, not the actors, not the writer of the script, but the studio for interfering. Like Alien 3 is another huge example. The studio totally fucked that up. So yeah, I can definitely see that as the case with Suicide Squad as well. Some people were saying. You can never know for sure because you don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. But yes, I think you do make a very good point. Yeah. Colonel says, I'll send you a flyer as well, Mark, for 24-hour science fiction movie festival. Oh, yeah. That's interesting. I don't know about time for it, though. Oh, okay, cool. I might wrap things up now. It's got on probably went on a lot longer than I meant to. Got on a lot of rants, but some people out there like hearing me rant, so that's all good. It's good to see it. And Cardinal, I gotta tell you, I was gonna tell you that I do still plan. I promised you like a couple months ago, and I never got around to doing it. But in a couple of weeks, I plan on doing a compilation of my rants, my best rants, where I'm saying, "What the fuck?" Maybe it's gonna get dislikes because people are gonna be sick of me hearing me yell on the roll. But I think it's gonna be fun. And it's gonna take a little while. That's why I've been putting it off because I have to search through my videos. But I pretty much know the videos to go to. There might be a few I missed that I kind of forgot about because I don't have time to review. I have over 500 videos on YouTube now. I don't have time. Oh no, over 400. I don't have over 500 is 521. So I obviously don't have time to look at all of them or even the majority of them. So I have to go by memory on where my best rants are. But I pretty much remember where the good ones are. So I'll be able to put that together pretty well. Hey Timo, thanks for joining. Too bad I'm just about to quit, although I did say that 30 minutes ago, but this time I mean it. I've been going on for a bit too long. Cardinal says, I've seen your IMDb page, Marky. Oh, you have? Oh, well, okay. I'm credited for first AD on a film that never really got shown, and sound editor, or sound editor for a film that was shown several short film that was shown in several film festivals. And I didn't put any of the personal ones I directed up on IMDb page because they never got shown in any like legit like film festival, so I never bothered. And honestly, I've kind of gotten out of making films. Like earlier last year, I was planning on making one, but then I just got too overwhelmed. I'm too busy doing this. And honestly, I'd rather do this because this is more fun. Anyway, I think I'm going to take off now. So it's great. Thank you, everyone, for this chat. Those who hadn't seen the start of my video, check that out and let me know, like, if you think I should stop using pictures on my Star Trek and Vikings videos and other various videos to avoid copyright dings, or if I should just ignore the copyright dings and use the pictures anyway. And just because they're not my main source of revenue anyway, my main source of revenue is Game of Thrones. So as long as they're fine, then I should just keep using pictures and not worry about it. I don't know. It'd be good to hear your opinion on that. Mark says, will you watch the new show coming out, Taboo? I haven't heard of that. That is the first that I'm hearing of this. So, yeah. Maybe I'll look into it. There's several shows that I have on the back of my list I plan on watching and doing quick reviews for, mostly Netflix shows because I have a subscription to Netflix, so that's the most easy access. Because I do from time to time torrent videos, and my computer doesn't like it. It gets all sorts of viruses, so I try to avoid doing it at all costs. So when I have stuff like a couple of other streaming services in New Zealand that are legal that I have pay a subscription for, I try to use that as much as possible. That's why everyone always wants me to review Babylon 5, but Babylon 5 isn't on any of these subscription services. So that's why I've been avoiding it. I mean, I'll go out once I do review it. I think I promised to do it in 2016 and I never got around to it. Sorry, guys. But once I do it, I will rent it from the video store, which we still have DVD stores in New Zealand, believe it or not. But they're dying out here as well. But yeah. Anyway, that's the reason why I might not review certain shows, because they're not on my streaming services, and I try to avoid watching stuff illegally as much as possible because I get all sorts of viruses and bullshit on my computer and slows it down. It's very annoying. And plus, it's bad. It's unethical to illegally watch stuff. Cool, got that out of the way. Anyway, yeah, so I think I'm going to take off now. Cardinal Dune said, if you don't like Babylon 5, don't review it, man. So, well, the thing is, I do like it, but I don't like it as much as fans. Like, I think Deep Space Nine is way better. All these Babylon 5 fans, again, they're asking me to review it, but they're not really going to like what I have to say about it. I mean, I enjoyed the show. I did watch it, and I just need to watch it again in order to review it, because it was like 5-6 years ago. I can't go off of that memory. I'd have to watch it again. And I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I enjoyed it enough for a second viewing. Probably. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I'll probably get around to it eventually. If I didn't want to review it, I wouldn't. But that's why I've been pushing it, because that is probably the show that I've gotten the most requests to review over like past 3 years. Ever since I've been doing this channel, everyone's like, review Babylon 5. I got like 10, 12, maybe 20 requests, and I keep ignoring it because I don't really want to. I mean, kind of want to, but it's not really a priority to me. And again, you're not going to like what I have to say about it if you're a huge fan of the show. I didn't hate it, but I didn't think it's like great. I think it had a lot of faults, which I would just rant on. And so you probably wouldn't appreciate that. Like, I got into an argument the other day with someone, one of my friends, family members who love Babylon 5. And I was like, no, well, Deep Space Nine is way better. Anyway, enough of that. I keep saying I had to go. I really should go. Timo says, thanks, Mark. Sorry for being late, but now I can start from the beginning. Okay, all good. All right. And Marilyn says, Mark, take your time. We're all here when you have no worries, as long as we get live chat again. Yes, we'll get several live chats. I have a couple planned in the next coming months, and I don't want to do too much, so we'll probably keep it to this couple. Okay. Oh, Timo says, I kind of like when Mark reviews shows he doesn't like. Rants are awesome. Yes, well, you will enjoy my rant compilation that I'm putting together. It says, The Walking Dead cliffhanger rant is probably my favorite rant of all time. Well, I don't know if you hear when I mentioned I'll be doing a compilation of all my best rants, and that Walking Dead rant will definitely be in. Several Walking Dead rants, actually. But yeah, I don't know if you heard, Timo. You probably find out when you watch the beginning of this video, but I'm stopping reviewing The Walking Dead because it's just, I don't like doing it anymore, because it's just, I'm really negative. And even though people like you and a few other people enjoy hearing me trash the show, the majority of people are fans and they don't really appreciate me just constantly trashing it every week. So I'm just going to touch in from it at the end of the season. I'm not going to review it weekly anymore. Yeah. But that's just me. Okay, so not to confuse them with acting that are not the same person. Who's saying that? I don't know. Anyway, I'm definitely out now. Well, Happy New Year, actually, by the way. I forgot to say it's New Year's Eve for me here, probably for you too, Cardinal Doomsday in Australia. I'm working on New Year's Eve, so that should be fun. Dealing with lots of drunk people. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Got a couple more videos I'm doing. I've still got my top 10. Oh, I gotta promote. I gotta push up this video, which I look forward to doing every year, and like it gets less than 1,000 views. But who cares? It's the one I really love, and I think about all year. It's my top 10 favorite TV shows of 2016. I already did my top 10 movies, but the TV shows one is the one I'm really looking for. And when I watch these shows, I'm like, which one is going to be higher? Which one's going to be my favorite? My number one won't shock you, but other than that, it's going to be some other things might surprise you. Some other shows I put higher than others, whatever. This is what I'm really looking for. I'm going to do that in a couple days, maybe tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that and be hyped for my top 10 TV shows, even though hardly anyone's going to watch it. I love it. Anyway, thanks guys for all your support. I know if you're watching this, you're especially at this point late in the video, a huge supporter of my channel. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. I wouldn't be doing this channel if it wasn't for you guys. Point blank. And, you know, if it wasn't for all this great support and feedback and people telling me that they enjoy watching my videos, I wouldn't be doing it. So thank you so much. And we'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.